Hey folks, it's me, Michael Bach, and this is your Lunchtime Learning on all things related to SHRM Inclusion 2023 conference taking place from October 30th to November 1st in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. Today, I am joined by Sharon Steed, the founder of Communilogue, whose session titled Making Empathy Actionable, Driving Inclusive Cultures with Key Empathy Behaviors is taking place on Tuesday, October 31st at 11 a.m. on the Spotlight stage. Welcome, Sharon.
Hello, hi. I am so excited to be here and to chat with you today.
Well, let's get into it. Tell me about your session, because it's got a really interesting title.
Yeah, so in order to tell you about that, I have to go back a little bit to tell you how I got into this just in the first place. So I'm a person who stutters, and I had sort of come to this point in my life where, I was just very terrified of talking. And so I had to, just learn how to, overcome this fear, right? And so I decided to pursue public speaking. And in the beginning, it was just to sort of, calm down, to just be more comfortable, like with the physical act of just talking to people. And I thought I would give one or two talks and I would be cured and I'd never be afraid to talk again. And that is absolutely not how that happened. However, what did end up happening was that people would, come up to me after my talks and say, hey, I really appreciated your message of empathy. And so I began to really just lean into that. And so over the years, I've been doing this now for 8 or 9 years. I really was incredibly privileged in that I got to travel all over the world and talk to people from, all different walks of life. And I like to say that I've had, over 1,000 conversations on just what empathy is and, how different people attempt to, just engage in like proper empathy. And so a thing that I sort of discovered was that empathy, it really has to be a behavior. It has to be a practice in order for people to really, like engage in it, right? And so over the past couple of years, especially during the pandemic, it's when I started focusing on how to really make empathy actionable. Right. And so what are, the behaviors, the key empathy behaviors that, you as a professional, especially if you are in the HR space, what are those key empathy behaviors that you need to really engage in order to be better communicators, better collaborators, to be a lot more productive as a team, to have just a lot more of an inclusive culture. And so that's kind of what this talk is about is, what are these behaviors that are going to increase empathy in order to increase inclusion, and what are the behaviors that we are, a lot of the times unknowingly engaging in, like that are taking empathy away.
Okay, there's so much there I would love to unpack. What an amazing story that you have this diverse ability and you decide to do something that is so in its face, as opposed to like saying, oh, no, I'm not going to speak in public. No, I'm going to become a public speaker. That is amazing. Tell me.
Why not?
Yeah, right. Why not? Tell me what you want attendees to come away from your session understanding. What's like one or two things that you is the lesson?
So I really want people to embrace this, whole idea that empathy isn't a thing that you know how to do just like on your own, right? Like a lot of the things that I talk about, are topics that we as people have been discussing ever since we we were, very young, right? Compassion, kindness, respect. But, for a lot of people, it's hard to sort of translate those behaviors into the professional, capacity and still feel effective as career people. And so I want people to, embrace this whole concept of, like empathy can be, taught, and it can be learned, and you can learn, how to really engage it in a professional setting. And then, I also want people to just be inspired by the fact that, it's okay to be vulnerable. I have been incredibly vulnerable in my career as a public speaker, and it has paid me in dividends that I couldn't even dream of, right? And so, the behavior, of being actively empathetic is, kind of a vulnerable one. And so it's why a lot of the times, like when you're hearing people talking about, both empathy and vulnerability, they are paired together. And so in my talk, I really want people to just be comfortable and see the value and the benefits of being sincerely vulnerable as a way to better connect with their coworkers, their friends, their families, and just all the people that they are going to be engaging with in their day-to-day lives.
Wow, I'm excited for your session. So that's it for us. Thank you so much, Sharon, for joining me today. And remember to attend Sharon's session on Tuesday, October 31st at 11 a.m. on the Spotlight stage. And if you are so inclined, you can come to my session, What Gets Measured Gets Done, Measuring Success in Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility on Wednesday, November 1st at 7:30 a.m.